Hello, 8th graders. This is our final unit. Yay! So within this unit, what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk a lot about exponents and exponent rules, as well as we're going to talk about scientific notation. So we're going to start by talking about your exponents. So the first one is a pretty quick review of what you already should have been learning about exponents. And then the next two ones are going to be some of those new exponent rules. That's why I figured you could get through about 3 lessons this week. So we're going to start off with 10.1, which is all about exponents. So your ICANS is I can write expressions using integer exponents, and I can evaluate expressions involving integer exponents. So it's taking those expressions and writing them with exponents, or using those expressions and evaluating them, finding your answer. Okay. Skip our warm-up. All right, so essential question, how can you use exponents to write numbers? Remember, your exponents are going to be those things that are going to be like, okay, maybe you had an x, okay? They're going to be the little numbers that are going to be above x, so maybe you got a 2. Okay, maybe you've got an actual number this time, you got 5, okay? And it's 5 to the third, okay? It's those little numbers that are right next to your bigger number, right? So how can you use exponents to write expressions? I'm going to use them to kind of simplify my expression. So when we get into this, there's no big main key idea. Again, it should be review. So they want us to write each product using exponents. Now listen to your direction. It says I'm just going to rewrite this with exponents. I am not going to find what is the answer. Again, not finding the answer. So I'm just going to rewrite this. Remember, your exponent means how many times are you multiplying the base. Okay, so here's your base, which is this -7, and I'm going to keep it in the parentheses. How many times did I multiply this by together? Well, how many -7s are there? There's 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put a 3 as my exponent here in the top corner. And that's all it needs me to do. That's it. I'm not actually answering this. Okay. Down here, then I have two different bases. I've got pi and I've got r. I don't want to actually take 3.14 times 3.14. I want to just think, okay, if I had a base of pi, let's just keep it as pi. How many times did I multiply with pi? There's 2 pi's, so I'm going to have pi squared. And then I got to think about my r. Remember, when you just had things right next to each other, it just means multiplication. Okay, so there is 3 r's, so I'm going to put a little 3 by the r. Okay, and that's it. I'm just simplifying this expression. All right, so I want to try I want you to try these two on your own here. Go ahead and pause the video, write this out. How many exponents is the 1/4 going to have? How many is the x going to have? Again, you're just writing the product. I don't actually want to know what is 1/4 times 1/4 1/4. Just rewrite it, okay? When you come back after pausing this video, I will have the answers for you. All right, welcome back. You should have your base as 1/4 and the exponent as 5 because there is 5 1/4. Now remember, I shouldn't see something like this where you have 1/4 and 5 right next to it. No, it needs to be all the way in the top right corner here, and it needs to be smaller than the others. So this is not going to work, okay? Same thing kind of applies down here. Make sure your exponents are small and they're up in the top corner. So there is 4 0.3, so I have a base of 0.3 to the 4th and x to the 2nd, or x squared. Okay. Any point if you're not sure, you can pause this video, rewrite down some of your notes. Let me know if you've got questions as well. We can meet during our daily Zoom meeting. You can email me, Google Classroom, Remind, whatever you need to do. All right. Let's keep going. All right, so the next part is to evaluate expression. Evaluating means you're actually going to answer it. So what is the answer to these problems, okay? So first off, I want to rewrite this out, and then we will find the answer. So in this case, because it looks to be that these two are the same, they both have a base of -2, and they've got an exponent of 4. But as you're going to see in just a little bit, these answers are actually going to be different. So really, what does this mean? Negative 2 to the fourth? Well, when I rewrite it out, I'm going to rewrite it with the negative, or the parentheses. So I'd have negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Sorry, it takes me a while to write on here. Times negative 2. This is what that negative 2 to the fourth means, okay? Think about your integer rules. A negative 2 times a negative 2 makes a positive, and it makes a positive 4. I did the same thing over here. That means a negative times a negative makes a positive 4. And 4 times 4 then is going to give me an answer of 16. Okay. On this case, this is how I would expand out this problem. Okay. Is I would have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Because there's no parentheses here, I did not keep this as a negative 2 when I multiplied out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add one big parentheses and keep the negative on the outside. So ultimately, my answer is going to be negative. Okay? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So in this case, I get an answer of negative 16. Okay? So it will be important to understand, does it have a negative with a parentheses, or is it just a negative no matter what? Okay? Things will change a little bit. So if you ever do see a negative 2 to the third though, oops, negative 2 to the third, think about this. If I was to get rid of this part, okay, so this part right over here, and I just had negative 2 times negative 2, well, that's 4. Multiplied by negative 2, 2 or 4 times negative 2 would give you negative 8. So when you do end up getting with these ones, and you do have a parentheses, and the exponent is odd, your answer will be negative. If your exponent is even, your answer will be positive. Okay? That would be something really important to write down in your notes if you want to. If the exponent is even, the answer's, or sorry, even, your answer is going to be positive. If your exponent is odd, your answer is going to be negative. That's only in the case that your base is negative within the parentheses. This one doesn't matter no matter what. If it's positive or negative, or sorry, if your exponent's odd or even, it's always going to be negative no matter what. All right, let's keep going. All right, example 3, again, we are going to evaluate each expression. So this one we have to think about something very important, which is PEMDAS. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So think about your order of operations, okay? Your P is your parentheses, E is exponents, M and D go in the same spot, okay? So it's thinking left to right, multiplication and division. And then you've got your addition and subtraction. Make sure, again, you're looking left to right. So if I'm going to look at this first one, I'm going to figure out what is 3 to the fourth. Okay? I can think about it in my head right now. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. 27 times 3... 60, 81, I believe. Let me double check with my calculator though. Feel free to use a calculator. Just on the step part, if you plug this entire equation in, it is not going to do it correctly because you need to use the order of operations. Calculators do not use the order of operations, so you need to take it one step at a time. So the only thing I'm going to figure out right now is what is 3 to the fourth. I'm just going to make sure I got it right when I was doing the math in my head. Yep, and I did get it right. So then from there, I'm just going to rewrite this. So I'd have 3 plus 2 times 81. Now thinking about my order of operations again, I already did my exponents, so then I'm moving to multiplication or division. And right here, I do have a multiplication problem, so I'm going to do the 2 times 81, which gives me 162. So I'm left with 3 plus 162. which then gives me an answer of 165. And that's my solution. Okay. So your next one then, again, you want to start with anything parentheses, but we have no parentheses, so we're going to start right into our exponents. I'm going to get 3 to the third. When I was kind of figuring this out, I already remember what 3 to the third was. That's going to be 27. Ooh, that's kind of large. Then I have 8 to the second. 8 to the second is 64. Again, I can't just plug this all in a calculator and expect it to do it correctly. And then it's divided by 2. So I'm left with addition and I'm left with division. Remember, I want to start with my division here. So I'm going to take 64 divided by 2. I'm going to just rewrite the 27 minus. Okay, 64 divided by 2 gives me 32. So 27 minus 32, I can already tell this is a smaller value minus a larger, so I'm going to get a negative value. When I do this, I end up with a negative 5. Okay, and that is my solution. Okay. Again, at any time, pause this video. Let me know if you've got questions or you feel like maybe I did something wrong. Let me know. You know, I make mistakes too as well, so let me know if you've got any questions. But let's keep going. All right, I want you to try these 4 on your own. Okay, so you're evaluating. That means I actually want the answer. Oop, my apologies there for that one right now. I believe this is to the third. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, find your answers. When you come back, I will have all the solutions here on the board. Alrighty, welcome back. Here should be your answers. So your first one, when you multiply this out, you need to get a negative 625. There's no parentheses, so your answer just ends up being negative. Okay. This one is a little tricky. Anytime you take 1 to the third, it's just going to be 1. So you don't have to worry about figuring out what is this decimal version and then doing it 3 times. Then just take 6 times 6 times 6. Okay, 6 to the third, which is 216. Again, it's going to be negative because it has an odd exponent. Number 5, you've got absolute value bars. So once you find negative 3 to the third, it's negative 27. Negative 27 divided by 27 is negative 1. Remember, those absolute value bars mean anything that's negative comes out positive, so your answer is just a positive 1. And the last one, using your order of operations, you find out that 2 to the 5th is 32. You need to do this multiplication first, which is ultimately just dividing by 2. So you get 16. So you take 9 minus 16, you get an answer of negative 7. All right. I'm going to keep going here. All right. This problem, I think I might just pause the video here and go into a part 2 of this video, just because this one's going to take a little bit more time. So again, go ahead and move to part 2 of this video. This is where I will start off with example 4. Okay, see you in part 2. Bye.